In order to get you going with the next unit, command line skills, let's talk a little bit about what are the top commands in Linux and how can you use them to start to become productive navigating around the file system. So one resource that I have added to Moodle for you links to this page from a tutorial offering you 35 of the top Linux commands. Now that seems like a lot of commands, but probably there's a dozen or maybe 20 that will get you going. And as you practice, they'll become old hat. One is the Pwd command. Think of it as present working directory. Use Pwd when you want to find out where your current focus is. So the command is going to return an absolute or full path to your current location. Let's take a look at how we can complete that or do some little bit of practice. You can either open up your Oracle VirtualBox machine, or you can actually complete these skills in the virtualized window that is included with Networking Command Academy. So while the VirtualBox comes alive here, perhaps we'll close that for a minute and look back at our class in the Networking Academy. So we can see that I am in NOS 120, and it really doesn't matter exactly which module I choose, but might as well take module 5 since it's the current one, and I'll open the materials, which will show me the courseware on the left, and then on the right hand side I'll see a cloud instance of an Ubuntu PC. I can slide the courseware smaller so that I get a little bigger view in the virtualized window. And you can see that I'm told that there's a user account called sysadmin with a password netlab123. But I'm already logged in and I'm at the command line. I can go ahead and put in that pwd command for present working directory, and I can see that I'm in the /home/sys admin directory. Well, I was trying to get my page to be, there we go, a little bit bigger so you can see it. So that is as easy as that. And I will just keep this NDG Linux Essentials cloud system up in the window for you to see. CD, think of that as change directory. So to navigate through a Linux system from place to place, you will need to change directories. The item that you supply to the cd command to give it instructions about where to change directories to would be either a full path name or a relative path name. For now, we'll consider a full path name. And a full path name is one that begins with that / and starts from the very root of the file system, working its way down to our current location. So here's an example of something we saw previously where the word username is used as a generic terminology for your username, whatever user account you are currently logged in as. So let's go ahead and look at our cloud system and cd to home. And what's our logged in username? It's sysadmin. And see if we can go to the documents directory. And we can see that documents is now part of our prompt. So that's one of the nice features in Ubuntu and Ubuntu similar distributions is typically they are configured by default to include in your command prompt a little bit of information about your current location. Let me log in to my virtual machine and we'll see that a very similar environment will exist for us. To get to the command line interface or terminal in Linux Mint, we just go down to the bottom taskbar and I can hover over the little black, chalkboard looking icon and see that that is the terminal. In this particular case, I'll use pwd to find out that I am currently in the /home /Deborah M directory. And then I can use cd and a full path name, this time using the account Deborah M, and documents to navigate to the documents directory. So a very similar look and feel. We have the user account and machine name in green, and in this baby blue color we have some information about our current location. This is a good time to mention the special character tilde. So if you look at your keyboard on your computer, usually to the left of the 1 digit in the main keyboard, there'll be a key that toward the top has a little wave-like character. That is the tilde. And tilde in Linux is a shorthand for your user account's home directory. So I can say cd space, and I have to use the shift key to access the tilde, and now I am back to the tilde location. Well, what is that? Let's use pwd, and we find out it's my user account's home directory. Here's another important thing to keep in mind. Sometimes in sets of instructions, you will be directed to go to the home directory. The home directory is /home. We see that directory exists. I can use the ls command to get a listing of the files and directories in that location. Everything seems like it makes sense. But sometimes you're asked to go to your home directory. That is your user account's home location. That is different than the home directory. So your home directory can be gotten in a shortcut method by cd space tilde, or you can go /home and then your account name. Either way will get you home. Let's look at a few more things about CD. Some shortcuts to help you navigate quickly. I suggest you read this nice little tutorial. CD space ... will move you up one directory location. CD all by itself will go straight to your home folder. So really that's the same thing as cd space tilde. And then cd with a hyphen will move you to your previous directory. It's sort of like, on your remote control on your DirecTV or Spectrum TV, that you can go to like previous channel. It's a similar concept. So let's take a look at some of those things. So let's go cd space ... Where do you think we're going to end up? Up one directory. So we're going from /home /Deborah M to simply /home. Now, if I wanted to go back to my home location, I can do that cd space tilde, but we just learned I could also just go cd, and now I'm back to my home location, my user account's home directory. If I do cd hyphen, then that's like rewinding my history, and I've reverted back to the place I was before I had gone to home Deborah M, which happens to be, in this case, it was the /home directory. So that's some important things about the cd command. ls, I mentioned, is an analog to the MS-DOS command prompt dir. It allows you to view the contents of the current directory. Or if you gave it a parameter, it would be to view the contents of the directory location that you provide in the command. So let's go ahead and look at let's go to my home directory and ls, and I can see that I have folders and files in this directory. Linux Mint is nice and convenient because we have some color coding going on. So the white items are files, the blue items are folders or directories, and red items are compressed entities. There's other colors as well, and you'll do some research to introduce yourself to some of those. Now, just to show you that we can see a similar functionality on the Linux Essentials Cloud system, let's go over to there and try some things. Now, there's a command called clear, and that will give me a neater, cleaner looking screen. And let's go ahead and just do CD all by itself, and we can see that we're back to the home directory. I can do the ls command to see in this particular cloud instance, I just have folders in this directory: desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, public, templates, and videos. I can CD to a particular location. I could go to /home sysadmin downloads, and now I am at that particular location. If I wanted to do the CD space hyphen, where will I end up? Where should I end up? I should end up in the previous location to where I am now, which would make sense to be my home directory. And yes, I'm in my account's home directory. In this particular case, the user account is SYSADMIN. And we can see there are some flags that can be used along with ls. We'll work our way to those. Cat, which in the Unix world was a compressed form of concatenate, is a command that we use to print out to the screen or display the contents of a file on what is called the standard output, STDOUT, and by default that is the screen. So let's go to our VirtualBox machine, and I have a file that just by its name appears that it'll be a standard text file, and I'll use cat and then the name of that file to display to the screen the contents of that file. Now, it is interesting to mention at this particular point that Linux operates a bit differently from Windows in that it does not rely on file extensions in order to determine the type of file. So in Windows, you've got the .docx for a Word document, a .pptx for a PowerPoint file, a .txt for something that opens in Notepad. In Linux, there really is no such thing as a file extension in terms of software programs, but we feeble human beings, we aren't as good as computers at recognizing things. So I like to give files their mnemonic file extensions so that I can remember what kind of file they might be. There is a command called type, I think, and let's look at employee.txt, and yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay, so the command is file, and we can see that I put file and then a name of the file, and was told that employee.txt contains ASCII text. So the same way that that particular command named file analyzed the contents to determine what kind of file it is, then really the whole operating system has that capability and just recognizes files for their types. I urge you to read more about CAT, and we'll do more practice with it. The last two commands that I'll talk about in this video are CP and MV. CP is what it sounds like, copy. So if you want to make a copy of one file into another, it's an analog of the MS-DOS copy command. You use CP. MV is move, right? So to get rid of the original file and put that contents into something with a new name is the MV command. It would be similar to renaming, right? Let's give it a go. So that we'll use ls to remind us what's in the directory, and say, for instance, that I wanted to change the name of the employee file to staff. Then I could use, you can see that I typed wrong. I'm going to use the arrow key on my keyboard to move back, backspace, and simply change the typo to the correct, and then hit enter. And now when I list out my files, employee.txt will not be there. Instead, we'll have a file over here, staff.txt. So your assignment, or one of them for the week, is called Gaining Experience with Linux Commands. And you will be given some exercises that will run you through ls, cd, pwd, plus some new commands you'll be introduced to, more, head, and tail. Those can be read about in the tutorial if you go down through. So there are lots of good information in this tutorial. There is head and tail at 17 and 18 on the list. So I urge you to get to this assignment sooner rather than later. And I think almost everything in this assignment can be accomplished from the Linux Essentials terminal. So if you've had trouble thus far installing a virtualization environment like OracleBox, or you just don't have Linux Mint quite working, you can use the virtualized system, and there's nothing holding you back. So have fun, get your hands dirty. You really only learn by doing this, and yeah, you're going to learn a lot.